We start in the ATL, where the Atlanta Braves are in a dogfight with the Metropolitans to make the playoffs. Down the stretch we come. We're into September here. Baseball playoffs start in October. And in the middle of all of this, one of the grizzled veterans in Georgia had a mini meltdown this week. Now, if you didn't hear about it, maybe not. We've got the audio we're going to play here in a sec. So, Whit Merrifield, a longtime Kansas City Royal, Whit Merrifield, was hit by an errant fastball, happened the other night, and he then unloaded on the pathetic state of big league pitching, saying that something terrible is going to happen. And he recommended the sport reintroduce rules to adjudicate pitchers that are wild with their control. So I can give you the whole thing, but why don't you take a listen for yourself? Let's go to the audio tape.
The way pitchers are throwing now, there's no remorse or the regard for throwing up and in. The guys are throwing as hard as they can, and they don't care where the ball goes. And they can't.
Pull something.
You can't hit a guy anymore back. There's no fear that, if I hit this guy, our guy's going to get hit. That's not in the game anymore. Pitchers don't have to hit anymore, so they don't have to stand in the box. And the teams are bringing pitchers up that don't know where the ball's going. They throw 100 miles an hour, so we're like, all right, we'll see if we can get the guys out. Just set up down the middle and throw it as hard as you can. And it's driving me nuts, and I hate where the game's at right now with that. And I'm on the rules committee, and we got a call tomorrow, and it's going to be a long conversation on what we got to do to make pitchers think about. I just took 95 right off the head. I'm very lucky that it got me in a good spot, and I got to go get a CAT scan. I'm out of the game. He gets to stay in the pitch. I'm probably not going to be able to play tomorrow. No repercussion on his part.
All right, so that was Whit Merrifield. That was not the bite that I had hoped we would play. The bite I wanted was a little shorter, but we got the full extended dance remix for some reason. So let us discuss the question, what basket do you file the commentary you just heard from the Braves' Whit Merrifield, his rant about the pathetic state of big league pitching? So I've got spinach, Indiana Jones, and diagnosis. And we'll combine all of these things together and make a properly edited soundbite. I don't know what I have to do around here to get properly edited soundbites. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to do it myself. So first of all, Whit Merrifield got on the bully pulpit and unloaded, right? He unloaded. Now, there was only one profanity. I would have preferred a bleep more than silent. It's more funny. It's more entertaining, more engaging when you hear a bleep, listening to audio content rather than just a pause. But this was a therapeutic rant, obviously. I don't know if you know this. It's been a long season. Whit Merrifield started with the Philadelphia Phillies and sucked so much the Phillies said bye-bye, a byproduct of his overall batting average of .219. Now, Merrifield, what he did here in the cartoon bubble in my head is he grabbed the entire can of spinach, and he then puffed on his pipe, and he went, Popeye the Sailor, man, that's all I can stands, and I can't stands no more. And as a result, now Whit Merrifield predicted that Major League Baseball's competition committee, who he's a part of, will put some rules in, and he believes that's going to happen by next season. There will be rules. Now, how exactly is this going to work? How do you determine when a ball just got away from the pitcher, and when did the pitcher intentionally throw, or does it matter? We'll have to get the particulars on this. Now, but I do agree with Whit Merrifield and his commentary that the competition committee will have a rule in place to deal with batters that get hit. Of course, they will have to factor in that a number of batters get hit because they crowd the plate, and as a result, they are more prone to get hit. But the reason this is all going to happen, there'll be more rules in baseball, is because the jackwagon commissioner, Rob Manfred, this is his solution to everything. This is the corporate world that he is from. He's a lawyer. He's a labor lawyer that just stayed at Major League Baseball, worked his way all the way up to the top, the Peter Principle, commissioner. But rather than have players in that sport of baseball handled their business on the field among players the way that it had been done for 120 plus years, no, that's not good enough. Not good enough. So Rob Manfred says, no, we got to get a blue ribbon panel together, and we've got to add bureaucracy here, bureaucracy there, bureaucracy everywhere. Wash, rinse, and repeat. You look at how the sport is. They got ghost runners still in baseball, for God's sakes. Ghost runners. The games are going too long. We need to add the ghost runner. They did the ghost runner thing. You can't take out the second baseman. Cannot do it. Can't take down the catcher at home plate. These are all Rob Manfred creations, right? And he was there at the commissioner's office, whether he was the commissioner or the deputy commissioner, when all that stuff happened. Now, secondly, let's visit the zoo, the Bronx Zoo, where manager Aaron Boone and the New York Yankees are having major issues with their bullpen. Boone said he's going to, quote, get creative and consider several options at closer. Now, Clay Holmes, what up, Holmes? Clay Holmes is still in the mix, according to Aaron Boone. He wanted you to know they still support their embattled closer, the New York Yankees. So can you decode what Aaron Boone means when he says the Yankees will get creative with the closer role? What exactly does he mean? All right, so I will break this down. I'll explain this to you like you're 5 years old. Aaron Boone is channeling a classic Hollywood movie, Indiana Jones. He's making it up as he goes, which really upsets the nerds. The nerds don't like this at all. The nerd army, the parade of nerds that follow Brian Cashman around are not going to like this. Mariano Rivera is not walking through that door. And if he does, as Rick Pitino would tell you, he's going to be gray and old. And so they have no plan. They can't trade for anybody. The deadline is already passed. And so for now, Aaron Boone is going to actually have to manage. Unless the nerds just tell him who to pitch that day, but I assume he's going to have to go into the back of the refrigerator, go through the Tupperware, in the back of the fridge. You take out the leftover spaghetti and the meatballs. You got some rice over here, maybe some orange chicken, and you mix them all together and you make dinner. And that's what he's going to have to do at the end of games for the Yankees. And the playoffs are a month away. All right, final thought. We pivot away from baseball. We go to Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill. So I read this, and I'm trying to process it. I read that on the eve of some hearings, the NCAA's House settlement hearings, which are taking place, the leaders of college sports, the big kahunas that take all this money at universities and then God only knows where the money goes, they are working to establish a new, what they're calling a regulatory structure. A regulatory structure, not the NCAA, so it'll be something else, to manage/enforce a revenue-sharing model across college sports. So third-party agencies are being vetted right now, and they hope to have a plan. So how does this plan to dump the NCAA for some kind of new regulatory structure for college sports, mainly college football and basketball, how does this sound to you? So the MALLER diagnosis on this: the cure is worse than the disease. You ever heard that, right? You get sick and the medicine's worse for you than the actual illness. That's what this sounds like to me. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. I don't think I am. The NCAA started out with good intentions. There were people dying, the flying wedge. Schools were getting rid of football. At one point, college football was bigger than every other sport. And so the president put a panel together, and it wasn't even called the NCAA at first. They changed the name of it to the NCAA over time. And it started out as just a benign operation, and over time, like everything, like this country started, America started because people came over and wanted to get rid of the draconian taxation and all that in Europe, and so now we have the same thing they had there. It took a couple hundred years, and then here we are. And the NCAA, you can get rid of the NCAA, but it's going to backfire horribly because given a finite amount of time, the same damn thing's going to happen again. That they'll start out saying, we just want to be hands-off, we don't want to interfere, and then they'll add more rules and regulations, and then Congress will get involved, and the floodgates are open. It's off to the races. It's off to the races.